Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today to do Btooom Episode 1 review. And if you are wondering, yes, the King of Lightning is going to try. And when I say try, I really mean try to do weekly episode reviews of the new series that just came out this week, Btooom. And the reason why I want to do weekly episode reviews of Btooom is because this looks like a very promising show. It really does. I mean, it really does. Because you know why? It appears to be a more mature version of Sword Art Online. In fact, I would go as far as to say that this show is a combination of Sword Art Online and Battle Royale, because the concepts are very similar, where Sword Art Online is a video game and the character is now stuck in the video game and has to fight in order to survive. This character played a video game, was very good at it, very successful, top 10 in the world, and his team, but then he wakes up one day and he is on an abandoned island, the same concept as Battle Royale, and him, alongside with the people who are trapped on this island, are playing the video game in real life. And their lives, in this case, are truly on the line. And I think that the most key, definite statement that this show is for mature audiences only was when Sakamoto kills the one guy who was chasing him. And then Sakamoto was in the water. And then he turns around. The guy he just killed, his head falls down. His head, covered in blood, eyes roll back. His head falls into the water, and Sakamoto's staring at it. An arm over there, a limb over there. The water's covered in blood. And you're like, damn. Mature audiences only. Like, that shit was crazy. Another thing that I really like about this show is that they're only using bombs. Like, that to me is very impressive, because usually when an anime when anime series or manga series, when they portray the whole entire video game either becoming real life or you're trapped in the game, it's usually, you know, like sword fighting or, you know, like medieval type of stuff or maybe guns. But this one is strictly bombs. Strictly bombs and nothing else but bombs. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool shit. You must be smart while utilizing these explosions, these explosives. And if you fuck up, you could kill yourself. And it's like, what the fuck? It's a very, I like it, because even though you're just using bombs, they're being very intricate with bombs and bombs only. In fact, I can gesture because I liked how Sakamoto picked that up in the series. I mean, in his confrontation with the guy who was trying to kill him, Sakamoto noticed how his bombs were timer bombs, while the other guy's bombs were contact bombs, meaning that the other guy's bombs explode on contact. So there's different variations of bombs, and throughout the series, we can expect a lot more variations of bombs, like landmines or sky bombs or something of that nature. You know, like camouflage bombs, whatever. Like, we can expect a lot more from just bombs. And that, to me, I like that. I really do like that. Now, when it comes to this episode summary, it's overall very simple, because it is the first episode and we are being introduced to the character Sakamoto. So basically, this episode starts off and we're seeing these people and they're blowing each other up and shit. And, you know, like, it really looks kind of sick at first. And, like, we're seeing people wearing, like, these suits. Like, one team is red, one team is silver. And the red team is whooping the shit out of the silver team. And what happens here is that, like, at some point, the red team, one of the guys throws a bomb, accidentally kills some civilians. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And at the same time, you notice how the red team, even though they had just killed civilians, were being really fucking chill. And it was like either this is some kind of weird alternate reality or they're sick fucks. And then we see, and then we see the main character, who is Sakamoto Ryota, and he's in action, and we see him actually like take down one of the silver teammates easy. Like the last guy alive, he takes him down easy, puts a timer bomb on his neck. The guy blows up and dies, and then his team win. And then we get a screen of a computer, and then we flash out, and then we see Sakamoto Ryota, who is the main character of the series. And we get a backstory. And his backstory is very simple. He is a 22-year-old who has no job, who's not in school, and he is basically playing a video game because he's very, very good at it. At this point in time, Sakamoto is actually that game that he just played bumped him up to the top 10 in the world. And I think he's the best Btooom player in Japan because the game that they're playing is called Btooom. And the thing here is that this game utilizes bombs as weapons and bombs only, various types of explosions, in order to kill and beat the opposing team. Now, what happened here is that we see, and like we get like a backstory of like him and the game Btooom. How apparently, like he's very popular in Japan, and he was like there was actually like a magazine cover of him and his virtual wife, because apparently he got married in the game and shit, which kind of threw me off at first, because it was like, if this game is strictly, because this game reminds you of Halo in a way, it's like 4-on-4, so it's kind of like, okay, well, how are you getting married in a virtual, like the game just seems to be based on the team versus team. So when you're married inside the game, is it like more of a virtual reality? I'm not too sure, because they didn't really dive into that aspect. However, what we do know is that he is, again, very, very popular in Japan when it comes to this game, Btooom. And then as he beats this team and he gets bumped up to the top 10, immediately he gets challenged by the number 2 squad. And Sakamoto and his team are playing the number 2 squad, and they're actually, you know, on even terms with the number 2 team in the world. And then at this point in time, Sakamoto's talking to himself, saying how he's very good at this shit, no one can beat him, like this is his life, like he enjoys playing Btooom and yada yada yada. And then as he's playing and shit, there's a flash, and then all of a sudden he wakes up, and he is tied to a parachute in the middle of some tropical jungle. And this is where the episode picks up, because not only are we seeing the battleground of this series, which is this island, but also we are seeing the character Sakamoto cope with the situation at hand and try and figure out what's going on. Because once he wakes up and once he explores the island for a little bit, find his bearings, you know, like try to figure out like what's going on, two things that he notices that there is a gem stuck to his hand. And the next thing he notices is that he has a bag, and this bag has these weird cubes inside of them. And then the last thing he remembers is that he was in his room playing Btooom. And what happens here is that he explores the island, and then he's tired, takes a break, lays down next to some tree. He opens the bag, he examines these cubes, clicks a button, and all of a sudden the cube has a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And then all of a sudden, he gets a strange feeling. Like, this is not right. This cube gets to 3. And then he throws the cube away. And then he's like, no way. And then all of a sudden, the cube blows up. And then that lets us know that this bag of cubes is actually a bag of bombs. Now, at this point in time, Sakamoto remembers a few things about what happened before he woke up on this island. He starts to remember that he was at the grocery store, he got some groceries, left the grocery store, was going to go to a friend's house, but then he gets cut off on the way out of the grocery store by 2 big dudes. And these 2 big dudes are like, are you Sakamoto? So this lets me know a few things. The first thing is that Sakamoto either got A, abducted, or B, volunteered to go to this island. I'm going to go with A because A makes more sense. B, the next thing is that these people, these 2 big dudes who abducted Sakamoto, are probably involved in some way, shape, and form with the game Btooom. Because once Sakamoto starts to realize that this island and this crystal and this sack of Q bombs are very similar in the way the game Btooom is set up. So he starts to put two and two together. But before Sakamoto can get his bearings, what happens is some guy all of a sudden sees the explosion, starts running towards Sakamoto. Sakamoto thinks, "Oh shit, it's a friend, you know, like, hey, you know, help me out, like what's going on here?" And then all of a sudden this guy just throws a fucking sphere, not a cube, a sphere explosion. And these are contact explosions. And then the bomb hits the sand, explodes near Sakamoto, and Sakamoto, for a majority of the episode, is running away from this guy. Because this guy wants to kill Sakamoto. Because I can assume, which is very similar to what Battle Royale did in their series, is that there's going to be one winner. There are people on the island, and they have to kill each other in order to survive. The last one left standing is the winner. That, right now, is my assumption of how the game is set up. And what happens here is that this motherfucker, right, with the contact bombs, this guy, he's not right in the head. But basically what's happening here is that this guy, he is gung-ho. He knows the game system. He knows the fucking system, and he is taking full advantage of Sakamoto's temporary amnesia. And he is hunting him down. He is throwing all these contact bombs. Sakamoto at some point gets his arm broken and shit. And what happens here is that he hides out for a little while. And, you know, Sakamoto winds up, you know, getting found by the guy once again. The guy continues his pursuit. And then Sakamoto winds up near a cliffside over the ocean. And what happens is that Sakamoto gets blown back by a bomb, hides in the bushes. This guy is methodically planning out where Sakamoto may or may not be, because he can't see him. And then Sakamoto realizes, at this point in time, he realizes, you know what? This is a life and death situation. I haven't killed a single person my entire life. But in order for me to survive, I must kill this man. And Sakamoto does just that. So what happens here is that Sakamoto baits the other guy, because Sakamoto knows that he has time bombs, while the other guy has contact bombs. So what happens here is that Sakamoto yells at the top of his lungs, and then Sakamoto jumps into the ocean from the cliff. And what happens here is that the guy, he hears the yell, he chases after Sakamoto and stops right over the cliff edge. And the guy is waiting for Sakamoto to come up for air so he can throw his contact bombs at Sakamoto. Because remember, these are contact bombs. So these explosions, these bombs will not go past the water surface. Once these bombs hit the water, they will explode. But this will not kill Sakamoto. And this guy knows that. So that's why he's waiting for Sakamoto to come up for some air. But unbeknownst to him, Sakamoto already planted a timer bomb in the same spot where he jumped off the cliff. And that guy who was chasing Sakamoto is on that same exact spot. And then Sakamoto starts counting down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once it gets to 1, the guy, he hears the sound, looks down, shot, and then boom. Boom. Huge explosion. And then Sakamoto is holding a rock at the bottom of the water. He turns around, and the guy who was just chasing him, this guy's head, detached from his body, plops in the water and sinks down. And Sakamoto sees that shit. He gets the fuck out of the water, starts throwing up. And this is when reality sinks in. I may die on this island. I have just killed someone, and it rocks his world. It truly rocks Sakamoto's world. He's like, yo, this cannot be fucking happening. And then he turns around, he stares at the beach, and he sees, because this guy has his own sack of contact bombs, and he sees that same sack of contact bombs, and they came ashore. And Sakamoto realizes that if he took this guy's bombs, he would have an advantage over other people. And that there is the end of the episode. Now he knows he's playing the game. And this game is for keeps. You lose, you die. You win, you survive. It's that simple. And Sakamoto knows it. This is the same exact concept in Battle Royale. Just gamified. And I like it. I really fucking like it. So, there's the episode. And I will try to do weekly episode reviews of Btooom. And I'm going to try and get these out on Saturday. I mean, I believe the episode airs on Friday. I'm not too sure. But I'm going to try either doing it Saturday afternoon or morning. Or maybe Friday night. Or maybe Friday night if I can. So, that being said, King of Lightning, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe as always. And I'm signing out. Peace. Have a nice day. Boom.